Father, sometimes we get little notes from folks watching on Facebook Live or one of those other sites, and Liam is 9 years old.
Okay.
And he is watching on Facebook Live, and he asks if you would pray for him because he's getting his first reconciliation on Tuesday.
Okay, Liam, I will pray for you, and I'm sure it will go well. I've heard many first confessions in my time as a priest, and they all have gone very well. And I remember my own. I remember the first time I went to confession, and mine was I had memorized the prayers beforehand, and I remember standing in line and going over it in my mind. And of course, in those days, it was a confessional, and it was dark. And I went in, and I, a couple of months before, had been out with my friends across the street. I walked to the store with them, and we were in this grocery store, and they used to have these candied peanuts loose on a plate, and they were a penny a piece. And when I go with my dad, he'd always let me take a handful, and he'd pay for it. So I was with them, and they were buying stuff for their mother, and I grabbed some and put them in my mouth, and without even thinking, We got outside, and the other kid said, "Did you pay for those?" And I said, "No." And they said, "You stole." And I thought, "Oh my gosh!" I remember spitting them into the gutter, and that preyed on my mind. So then when I went for a confession the first time, I went in and I knelt down, and it was all dark, and so I started the prayers, and I said, and I stole some candy, and silence, nothing. And I waited there, and I waited, nothing. And I thought, what do I do? I guess it's pretty bad. And then all of a sudden, the door opened. I didn't know I had to wait for them to hear the person.
He was
on the
hearing
other
another
side.
person's confession.
So he said, "Go ahead." So I had to do the whole thing over again. But it was a relief that at least he wasn't scandalized.
He was so shocked at your theft of candy that he couldn't speak, Father.
So I remember my first confession. But I was
Yeah.
happy because my sins were forgiven and I was okay. So I'm sure most young people don't have those the kind of experience I had, because first of all, they're not usually in a confessional where everything is dark and so on.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you, Liam, for that, and glad to have you watching on Facebook Live.